And I guess you're not co-host now, right, Alex?
It
Because I took it back.
says regular, just a regular
Okay.
participant.
Yeah, let me give you back.
Okay. Fingers
That's
crossed.
that's that's a YouTube. That was a YouTube talking. Okay, let's get rolling along here. We're gonna start here. Uh, oh, we're very light. It's probably because of my late mailings. Anyway, but we'll have this recorded. We'll be on live on YouTube, and we'll put it back out there, and we'll remind everybody that we had such a great show. My name's John Mudd, and I welcome you all for being here. Thank you for coming. I'll just pop up the agenda, and we'll just kind of go through the agenda. Let me just get that ready. Agenda. There we go. Post events, and there's your agenda. Oops. Okay, and let me just show it all to you. We're going to share that. Here's our agenda. Isn't that a lovely picture, right? And the seniors, they've been fighting for their housing. Their first, by the way, this is the first housings that is marked for demolition is Elliott Chelsea and Fulton House. And they are seniors and they are living in the Elliott Chelsea addition, I should say. I should add that because it's a huge complex and we've got Chelsea Addition, which is one house and that's for the seniors. So I just want to make that distinction. Anyway, so we've got some nice guests here today and we've got some people rolling in, which is good. Um,
Hello.
Hold on. And so we're here. Please mute yourself if you're not speaking. So we're here, to find the issues that surrounding homelessness and housing, and we all know what that is. It's the same thing that's affecting the No More 24. It's affecting our healthcare. It's the establishment that wants to. Miriam, I think that's you. If you could mute yourself, that'd be great. And it's affecting any kind of basic needs we need. They don't want to give us the very basics of needs. And that's who we're fighting. We're fighting not only the corporatocracy, we're fighting we're fighting the politicians. They're in service to the corporatocracy. So we've got a big job here, no question. Special introductions. Alex, you have anything to report on your other meetings? I know you've been hitting, you spread yourself thin and you're very active. Alex, you have anything
There's
to
no
report?
there's no update.
Okay, very good. And Rob's not here for any reports. And we have nothing else. Anybody else have some attended anything they want to report, like some updates? Okay. All right. So we have No More 24 here. They didn't make it on the agenda because we were talking late last night. We have, of course, the Mamdani proposed plan. We've been discussing. I left the notes in there for that. And we have this is held over. This is held over. We have some other special guests. I think Karen is here. Christina Fontanelli. Thank you for being here, Christina. We're gonna start with No More 24 because they're active on site, and then we'll get to you, Christina, and then Karen, and then whoever else. We'll start talking about the public housing. Shijun, where are you? There you are.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put you. I'm gonna pin you, and. So they've been very active out there on the streets. No More 24. They've been on health hunger strike. This is their second time on health and hunger strike because they can't even get the very basic, of needs met. Shijun, take it away.
Yeah, hi everyone. Hear me okay?
Yeah, very good.
All right, thank you. So you probably heard some updates about the No More 24 fights, around the issue. basically only in New York City, where home care workers, majority immigrant women of color, are being forced to work 24-hour shifts, taking care of the disabled people who need round-the-clock care. And outside New York City, this is usually done in 2 split shifts, and even 3 8-hour shifts, and only in New York City, where they were forced to work 24. That hurt their health, destroyed their family, and also their patients couldn't get a good care. And early on this year, the home care workers went on a hunger strike, demand Mamdani and the Speaker pass the No More 24 Act. And at that time, the Speaker Menon promised to pass the bill in May. And then now it's early August, and still she hasn't. So workers very angry about her breaking the promise and also trying to sabotage the bill. And now they're back to a hunger strike, and today is the 8th day of their hunger strike. And I also want to get you guys to meet with some of the hunger strikers over here. We are right outside City Hall. And also here's this one. We also, so this is Arlene Locke. She also a resident of Chelsea. So she has also come out, trying to stop the fight against the demolition of the NYCHR over there. So basically, now the hunger strike has actually led to a significant progress, including the United Nations, who actually just yesterday sent an email to the mayor, to the governor, and to the speaker, telling them that there's a hunger strike going on, in case they still don't know, and also demand that they stop the 24-hour workdays. So that's a big progress, and we also have the Department of Labor reopening cases that they previously dismissed. So all these, I think, is because of the hunger strike and the impact it has to the whole society. And many people came, they heard a lot of the workers telling their story about their 24-hour shifts, that they have no sleep, and their health get destroyed. And also when they go back to their families, they have to continue, to take care of their family. And people, see very clearly that this, by maintaining the 24-hour workdays, New York City is telling people that the care that they provide is not valued. And also that's what it says about our society, that those who provide the care, they really being looked down, especially majority of them are women. So I think that we are trying to build a bigger movement after today, because like I said, they're actually wrapping up the hunger strike. They're going to have a rally at 12 p.m. To, announcing the conclusion of the hunger strike, and urge people to mobilize, their neighbors, their families, especially, many people who got the care, from their parents, men and women, all come out, because now the Speaker Menon, by not passing the No More 24 Act, is trying to, continuing to devaluing the care. So they will announce a bigger protest on October 3rd. That will be a Saturday, to come back to City Hall to protest Speaker Menon, who, as a woman, speaker herself, maintaining the sexism and the racism, to not just the home care workers, but to everyone. So, I think we are in the middle, of this hunger strike, but, you guys, feel free, welcome to ask any questions you have.
Sure. When you say announce the conclusion, you're not talking about you're ending the hunger strike. You're actually talking about what happened, throughout the day, right?
Well, today we're actually going to end the hunger strike.
Oh, you are.
Okay. Guys are probably the first to know.
Okay.
And, but we have a program at 12 p.m.
Okay. Okay, and maybe we can all jump down there to be a part of the announcements. Give you some support. Alex, go ahead.
Hey, Zishan. So when you end the hunger strike, what's the explanation or justification for ending it?
I think for the 8-day hunger strike, we make a lot of progress, right? Like I said, including the UN, even the UN sending the letter to the speaker and mayor and the governor, during our hunger strike, and also the Department of Labor, reopening the cases. That's also happened during our hunger strike. So, even though we still haven't got the No More 24 Acts submitted, I think we're able to get a lot of attention and also build a bigger movement throughout the past 8 days. Many different groups came out, including the people in the union, disabled communities, and a lot of the women organizations, healthcare professionals, all came out in support of the workers. But also they see that this is just unacceptable. And now our fight has broadened to talk about the care, and many people are actually resonates with that, and see the No More 24 become a larger struggle, to try to says that our the care should be valued, and the speaker mandate is actually by not passing it is the enemy actually of the people.
Thank you. Very
Okay.
impressive.
Yeah. Okay. We have Luana and then Leonard. Go ahead, Luana. Luana, where'd you go?
I'm here. I just had to find my microphone.
Okay.
Thank you. I am hard with your name. Is it Shushan?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for all the work that you do. I see you many, 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 many times downtown fighting against this issue. I don't know that I ever found out, but are there agencies responsible for having these workers work the 24 hours that can be targeted?
Yeah, actually, there are many home care agencies forcing workers to do 24, and they have many of the workers have stood up, against their agencies, because part of this that working 24-hour shifts, they only got paid 13 hours. So the insurance company, home care agencies, they have stolen a lot of wages from the workers, and there have been many cases in court and in the Department of Labor. And it's very clear, I think, to everyone, that they violate the labor law. But the governor of New York State, Hochul, continue to award these law-breaking bosses contract and funding. And including the speaker, now by maintaining the 24-hour workdays, she's telling people that what these agencies are doing is okay. Like I said, there have been Department of Labor, now because of the hunger strike, they are forced to reopen the cases. And many of these home care agencies, because of our movement, including the hunger strike, have already voluntarily splitting the 24-hour shifts to 2 12-hour shifts. So there have been a lot of progress, made on that front. Speaker and the governor, they really represent the interests of this home care agency. So that's why we out here and have many people calling on the speaker office, demand that she pass the No More 24 Act.
Yeah. Can you name those agencies?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
The obvious one is American Planning Council, which Arlene Law, actually, the home care workers here, she was working for that agency. And
what agency was that again?
Chinese American Planning Council.
Okay.
You see, they actually have been stolen more than $90 million of wages, and have recently built a luxury high-rise in the Lower East Side. And sweat.
Let's go and tar and feather those.
You keep a list, because my brother has a traumatic brain injury and he requires 24-hour care, but his shifts are split among the aides. So I was wondering, do you have like a list of agencies? Is there like some letters or something that we can do to help, or what is the plan about those, or specifically targeting the agencies?
Yeah, good to know that your relative have the split shifts. I think now, because of the movement, a lot of agencies they assign the split shift instead of the full 24-hour one shift.
Mhm.
I think as the lawsuit is still going on, many of the agency, they either already starting paying back, or splitting the shifts. So, I think CBC definitely one of the biggest. And there was actually Department of Labor release list of the home care agencies that stolen the wages. Which I
Mhm.
can ask John, to send the information later. But now
Okay.
I think for everyone, you could call the speaker, Julie Menon, tell her to end the 24-hour work days. You can definitely share your story about, how you're already getting the split shift, and but still the home care workers, and many of them still have the 24-hour shifts, and having a split shift is definitely better, for the client and for the workers.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very hard to do that, to care for a person and then go home to your family. Well, thank you for all the work you do. I'll look forward to John sending out the information.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you'll forward that to me right away, I guess. And Luana, what's your agency? What's the agency that takes care of your son?
His is Metro Plus.
Metro Plus.
Not
Okay.
Metro Plus. Wait, all Metro. Sorry. I got Metro Plus. All Metro.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. I have Len, I have Sandy, and I have Caitlin's got their hand up. Len, go ahead.
Yeah, I know that District Council 37 represents a lot of the workers and that the union leadership has taken a position against Intro 303. But I want you to know that or I'm wondering if you know, that there currently, right now, is a rank and file movement of workers across local lines that are in District Council 37 that are part of the DSA organization. And I'm wondering if you are in touch with them, Sishan, and have a relationship with this group of workers, because I spoke yesterday with one of their leaders, and we were talking about several topics, and I mentioned No More 24, and he was not fully aware of all the details. So I think it would be worthwhile for you to be in touch with this particular leader and try to arrange for an education session for the rank and file so that they fully understand the issues and can be on your side in supporting Intro 303.
Oh, thank you for bringing it up. We actually,
Shizhen, 1 second. Can you just kind of fix your camera a little bit? We're seeing this part of your face. Oh, that's perfect. Okay, perfect.
thank you for bringing it up. We actually know a lot of the DC 37 rank and file members came out supporting the home care workers.
Good.
We also have a sign-on letter for the DC 37 members, which I can share with John and ask him to share with you.
Great. Good. I'll make sure this friend has it.
Yeah,
great.
and feel free to put me in touch, John. Leonard, with the person you spoke to.
Absolutely, absolutely. Sandy.
Hi, Zishan.
Hi.
Hi. My experience was with my mother, who's since passed. She had split shifts. My mother was born deaf, and she was kicked out of her nursing home, as 122 others were, so that the property could get flipped. And so it was at that point that I got very involved with this whole nursing home stuff. And one of the things that I understood as a result of my mother having a split shift setup, which I had to do pretzel twists to get for her, was that some of the aides actually did 24-hour shifts also elsewhere. So they would come to my mother with a little suitcase, an overnight suitcase, sometimes with food, because their next client wouldn't let them eat from their own refrigerator. And then I would fill in and pretend that I was checking them out at the appropriate time so that they would have an hour to run to their next gig. And they took these additional jobs on. Sadly, many of them, of course, were Haitian and with TPS status, who have now lost it. And as a result, they had to take on additional jobs because at that time, Cuomo raised the minimum wage, which meant that their crappy agencies, their miserable sons of bitches agencies that I looked into, wouldn't give them overtime. So their hours were cut back. So they had to compensate for that. And so they lost money. So I testified in Albany, and I looked into some of the reasons for why these agencies could continue to do what they did. And that was very much because the Department of Health and Albany's Public Health and Health Planning Council was totally in on it and basically allowed many of these law-breaking, basically, agencies to continue to do what they did. Bottom line is that you have lobbying organizations like Leading Age, et cetera, who basically call the shots in Albany. And so while I understand the issue, and it absolutely must be taken up with Menon, double talker, one of the things that my question, I guess, is what have you done in Albany, if there is anything to be done? I'm sort of out of the loop because my mother passed away in 2020. But I am very much in support of what you do, and I appreciate it. It is disgusting. These loving aides who, you know, who toilet, who turn, who do all of this stuff for these vulnerable people are being screwed, and they do it certainly not for the salary, because the salary is crap.
Yeah.
They do it with heart. So that's what I want to say, Zishan, and thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Sandy.
Sandy.
So
Go ahead.
basically, on the state level, the Department of Labor is controlled by the governor. So for many years, they refused to enforce the labor law to hold these agencies accountable. And I think that explains, you know, why there's so many 24-hour workdays, because a lot of the wage theft happen. And I'm glad that you also mentioned the Department of Health, because they are also supposed to check in to see if the workers can get supposedly get the five hours of uninterrupted sleep, which, as a common sense goes, that never exists, because you take care of those clients who need round-the-clock care. So they would use this loophole to say that, oh, the workers will have to come out to prove that they cannot sleep. But then they will try to, then it have a lot of back and forth, right? Department of Labor not enforcing it, Department of Health not enforcing it. So even though everyone knows it's wrong, but they still continue. The reason why we do it in the New York City is because this is only happening in New York City. Outside of New York City, they have split shifts. So, it's up to New York City to ban it, the 24-hour workdays, make it into 2 12-hour split shifts. And that will force the state to do something, because, that's where majority of the 24-hour shifts exist. And we also know that Governor Hochul previously was exposed to pressure Menon to not bring this bill to a vote, threatened with cutting the funding to New York City. So I think definitely we hitting the Menon is actually giving the pressure to Hochul, because she also see the importance of this bill. So, we're not letting the Hochul off the hook. I think we are still, forcing her, to reopen the cases, while at the same time banning the shift will actually hurt the insurance company interests that she represents. So we do see that, by doing this, we are fighting the state government, who is also trying to maintain the 24-hour shift.
Yeah, thank you for that. Caitlin?
Hey, Zishan, so good to see you, and just to hear about the tangible kind of wins of the campaign with the UN. That's amazing, and the Department of Labor. it's just outrageous that Speaker Menon has that much power from putting the bill on the floor, so it doesn't get the kind of hearing. And I wonder about the other city council. Like, yeah, how can this one person be holding that much, being such a gatekeeper? And also just wondering what you think about the other city council members in terms of support. If she would let it go to the floor, do you think it would be supported? And what are the, what are the opportunities, challenges? What are you thinking about that?
Well, as you know, we are not living in a democracy, even though supposed to have a
I
democracy.
know.
So, but you have someone who is authoritarian, keeping this bill from getting to a vote. I think the speaker has a way, in the city councils, including like talking to other council members, because if she supports something, then I think she has a lot of power to push other council members to support. So we have talked to several council members, including some of those who are not on the bill. They would say that if the bill is put to a vote, they would definitely support it. But now, because of the pressure, from the home care agencies, from the speaker, they wouldn't dare to publicly, support it. We have some council members who came out, like Julie Won, like Lincoln Ressler, and not to mention, Speaker, the council member Marte, who have been the sponsor. So, I do think we have some support in the city council, but I think it's up to Julie Menon. If she put a bill to a vote, that I think definitely a lot of the council members will follow. And I think that's speak to the importance of giving pressure on Speaker Menon. And this is our flyer. Oh, it's a reverse. Basically, her number is 212-788-7210. Anyone, feel free to call her and ask your friends to also call her to give her the pressure. Let her know that many people are supporting our fights, including, many of you guys, having someone, that's getting the care, the importance, of having the split shifts. That would be good, for your family members and the caregiver. And also, many of you know the union members also urging them to call the speaker.
Yeah, make that call today. Shijun, Marte was up for a potential speaker. How did we get Menon and how did we lose Marte?
Well, I think you have a lot of special interests, in the city council. And, I think Councilmember Marte tried to also run for a speaker, which, we, of course, many workers support. But I think, even though she ended up not able to become the speaker, she did force Menon to promise to support the No More 24 Act, and actually force Menon to come out, early March to speak in front of everyone to say that she, support the bill. And I think that actually in our favor, because she on record saying something and then now she's breaking it. That shows very clearly that, who she is. And so I think that, help our movement. Because when you have a movement, you're able to, build a bigger movement to more and more people come out to push her. And I think that's, to get how we can get things done. Otherwise, if just Chris Marte, in the city council, she's facing with all these special interests, pressuring him. And, the fact that he's able to, maintain the pressure, on the Menon and keep his stand is because we have the people, we have the movement behind him.
Yeah. And Len, you put Nestor Medina in the chat. You want everybody to call, I guess. Right, Len?
Well, that's Nestor is the DC 37 rank and filer who Zishun can contact.
Oh, for Shijun. Okay.
Okay. Got
All
it.
right.
Yeah.
And Shijun, you've been at this with those folks down there. I've spent some time down there. You've invited me down there. Very much appreciated. You've let us speak about the Chelsea public housing, and really we're battling the same monster. and appreciate that. But looking back at your activism, looking back at what you did, all the activism that you've done there, where do you think, I mean, it's a long battle, we know that. Where do you think maybe some missteps, maybe some positive things, maybe some things you want to focus on? Can you kind of take us through a little bit of history there?
Well, I think we have a lot of success because a lot of the, what we do is not just like, like see just the home care workers just as the victim. I think many of them, they against all odds able to come together. Not easy because many of them, all they face in the 24-hour is the clients. They don't even know many of their fellow co-workers. And many of them, they are being oppressed, right, as layers upon layers of oppression against them. But even with that, despite that, they're able to come together. That I think shows that other people can do that too.
Yeah.
And I think there's have been challenges to make this as a bigger fight because like I said, right, there's a lot of the obstacles facing the home care workers and many obstacles facing that we face. That we oftentimes see the home care workers separate. But I think the fact that the Speaker Menon blocking the bill, for so long, even many people know that it's wrong. She's still blocking it. That shows that we are in a very bad position as a society. We thought that supposedly women is having a higher status than 100 years ago.
Yeah.
But this reality reminded us that it's not. History is not necessarily moving forward. We're even moving backward.
Yeah.
Supposedly we have an 8-hour day, but now we have 24-hour day. And supposedly we think that women have being respected more, but no. Actually, this telling us that women are respected even less today. That 1 second, I think the police car passing by. Okay, that that they're not respected. They're still expected to do the 24-hour workdays. Still expected to do the care work that's not being valued. So I think if anything, I think we should really make that connection. As many of us, we either provide the care, to our loved ones, or we got the care. Like myself, I'm a man. I got raised by my mom, by my grandmas. So that I think I also really have been reflecting on it. That I mean, this movement, not just for the poor workers, right, but also for myself, for my family, that who have been providing this care.
Yeah, good point. Leonard?
So, Sishun, the way you talked about the control that Menon has, I know that in Congress, the speaker has the same kind of control that Menon exercises. And in Congress, I know that there's a possibility to pass a discharge petition. And I'm wondering, and that's a way for a minority of members to be able to get a piece of legislation onto the floor for a vote. And I'm wondering if you are familiar with the rules of the city council and whether there is a possibility for the members, the council members, to force a vote by agreeing to essentially what would be characterized as a discharge petition to force the vote on Intro 303.
I think when Chris Marte ran for speaker, he tried to introduce reforms like that. in the city council. That if he were the speaker, he would do that. You know, if you have a super majority, then you automatically the bill can get a vote. You know, without a
There's
speaker.
right now, there's no way for,
I don't think so. I don't think so. As far as I know, I think that's why
Wow. Yeah.
Chris Marte, you know, wanted to address that, you know, when he ran.
right. Okay, thank you.
That's an interesting thing, though. That's an interesting thing to pursue. Thanks, Lynn, for bringing that up. It's anyway. Anybody else with questions? Anybody else? No other questions? Okay. One more thing, and this came up. This came up actually last meeting, and I want a more clarification. You know, some of the people. I mean, I noticed some of the people that were against it. You know, it was kind of surprising, actually. I saw Arthur Schwartz on there. I saw Disabilities Organization, and they're worried about taking away their health. But we know. I mean, I've had extensive conversation with Chris Marte. That's not true. Can you explain it to everybody? That.
Well, I think some of these disability advocates, they are working for the insurance company interest, because all they say is to get more money for the insurance companies. You know, as we already know, right? A lot of the wage steps, you know, already happening. So even more money for the insurance company doesn't necessarily mean that it will solve. It will be given to the workers. It's probably just more money for the CEOs, for those on the top. So their opposition really, I think, is to protect the insurance company interests. Of course, when we pass the No More 24 Act and split the shifts, the insurance companies have to make less money. You know, they cannot just like steal people's wages. You know, so I think that's what the insurance companies and their representatives don't want, and they really doing the dirty work. You know, pit the clients against the workers. You know, when we know that they have the same interests. And a lot of the disabled people came out in the past few days to speak on it, to say that these advocates don't represent their interests. You know, if anything, they actually make it worse. You know, so they actually, many of the disabled people came out. You know, we are standing together. You know, today.
Yeah, good. We definitely are in solidarity with you. And remember, folks, we have some phone numbers here. Speaker Menon, 212-788-72110. I mean, please make those calls. Please email. Please get in touch with these folks. We appreciate you. And before you go, why don't we want everybody? Can we see the folks around you and say goodbye to them?
Sure. 佢而家準備結束啦喎，俾大家睇下，大家講聲拜拜得㗎啦。
拜拜。
講聲拜拜同佢哋。
It's good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you for everyone.
Keep the fight. Keep the fight going.
Thank you.
Wonderful to have you. Thanks. Okay. Very good. Let's go back. We have Christina Fontanelli here. Christina, why don't you tell us first of all, tell us a little bit about you, about what you're doing, about some basic things about what your campaign is all about.
Yes. Hello. Good morning. Can you?
Christina, can you bring your face up a little bit? You were missing. Yeah, that's better. Perfect.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm very moved by what you're doing here this morning. And I'm, thank you for inviting me. I didn't anticipate being in the political sphere. Leonard, I think I ran into you on the street corner one day. I remember you. I have been an award-winning opera singer. I've been on PBS TV as a host for Andrea Bocelli. I've sung for with Tony Bennett. I'm just telling you all this stuff. I've traveled internationally. I sing in 9 languages. The reason I'm telling you this is because I had this epiphany, so to speak, and a calling to go into public service, because for issues like this and many issues in New York City that I see that I don't like what's going on, and I'm a true New Yorker. I was born in Brooklyn. My grandparents came from, my great-grandparents from Italy with nothing, and my great-grandfather became a New York State Assemblyman. He had nothing and worked his way up and became the first Italian-American presidential elector, et cetera, et cetera. I didn't want to sit back and do nothing when I saw my city. I don't like what's going on, and you guys are highlighting a lot of what it is. I'm delighted to try to help. Sishan, is that his name? Yes, Sishan mentioned about women. We have absolutely no women representing us. We have no elected officials that are representing a vast majority of the people that are living here. Now, I have a bit of an elevated life. Luana, we had a long talk, so thank you for that yesterday. I have a grassroots background, like a lower income, very difficult in some ways background, and I walk with the elites many times. So I am trying to wrap my brain around what's going on in New York City, because it's not resonating properly somehow. The forward-facing public discourse is to protect the people that are needy and needing help, and yet we see so many things that are not working. So just on this last subject, I was the sole caregiver for my mother, who had polio and eventually got dementia. I took care of her. I took care of my sweetheart, who was diagnosed with a brain tumor, who passed from that. I took on the administration at Columbia Presbyterian Hospital and fought and fought and fought. And the head neurosurgeon said, I would want you as my advocate. If I got him the best doctors. I got my mother reforms in the nursing home. I had to put her there because my brother died in a car crash of drug abuse, heroin abuse. I am a person that forward-facing, looks like the successful, which I am, successful singer, opera singer. You know, I started a nonprofit working with children and youth, 23 years, producing shows at Carnegie Hall, giving them opportunities to perform, and, you know, giving them self-esteem, because we need to give the youth self-esteem. I don't want to go on and on. I don't know how much time you have for me to speak, but I'm very excited because somehow, through the grace of God, I wound up doing this, and I have a unique perspective because I did it. I took care of my mother. I had to hire the healthcare. I know how important they are. I know that there's a lot of injustice going on somewhere in the middle with paying our bills in New York City and being humane and standing up for our people, because if we don't, we have a weak base. We will not survive, because we cannot have only the people at the top, you know, benefiting and living the high life. So I don't know, somehow in the middle of this, I want to add my voice and fight for people and fight for what I think is correct. So that is what I'm doing. And I'm not a rich person.
Yeah.
Should I stop now? You just tell me.
Just a moment. So you've got yourself on the independent ballot, right?
Yes.
And you're.
I named it, but yeah.
You named it what?
Save NYC. I thought that was, in my mind, that is the existential crisis we're facing. I could be wrong, but I live in a hyper, you know, I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't feel safe on the streets. They're filthy.
Yeah, and you and you've on the ballot. You're also trying to unseat Tony Simone, which we pretty much know where he stands on public housing. So where do you stand? You live in Manhattan Plaza, right?
Yes.
And Related is the manager of Manhattan Plaza. We know that. And you
Yes.
know, related is the manager, the real estate company, the developer that wants to demolish Chelsea public housing, right?
Well, I learned that. So now
Uh-huh.
I have to wrap my brain around that. I told some of the people in my building that it seems to me if they have an elected official that lives in the building, that they might be more protected. Now, what they'll do to me, I don't know, but I do protect people myself.
Mhm.
I don't like what's going on. You know, as far as I know, they're reestablishing new asset levels and people work their whole lives to save a few dollars, you know. Um, my mother and myself, I'm not rich, I told you, you know, we did rely on some sort of, you know, like subsidized housing. I believe that people need quality of life and peace of mind, and we have enough things to worry about. Our elected officials are not giving us a peaceful existence. We have too much anxiety about too many things. And
Mhm.
why we can't help seniors, I mean, I am sure that there must be some sort of way to protect our citizens. And if it's a fiscal thing, which I still can't wrap my brain around, I'm a bit new at this and I'm admitting this because until I put the puzzle pieces together of why they're determined, I think I know now, I think I understand it, why they want to demolish the buildings. I think I get it. But why are they not presenting something in detail, in depth, that protects people? In detail, give people peace of mind. What is going on? I don't know the conditions of the buildings because I haven't been there. But what I
Well,
do,
Christina, we can certainly help you with that. Len, you had your hand up. You wanted to chime in? No. Okay. So we can
may I
certainly
say
help.
may I say something else while
Sure.
I'm on
Yeah.
the
Absolutely.
campaign? What I found out now that I'm in this and I'm opposing Tony Simone, which I'm sure he must be a nice guy, but he's very wealthy. I'm not holding that against him. He's wealthy and he's married. I have heard and corroborated pretty much. He's married to a man who's a billionaire. Now, I can't wrap my brain around why people need to have so much money and then make other people suffer. I can't really understand that. Maybe I will eventually, I suppose, but that to me is, I'm not against people having money. I'm against a forward facing public narrative that makes you look like you're for the underdog and little people and you know, and they really aren't. So what is
Do
going
you
on? You need
do
to
you
help.
know what is? Do you know what his billionaire mates do? What's his position? What's his job? Is
No,
he?
I really don't know yet because I have a lot on my plate.
Right.
I'm trying to, do you know?
I don't. I do know. I can only imagine that if he's a billionaire, he's in the billionaire class, and they make profit off the real estate and
Right.
healthcare industry. So I'll bet a lot of money on that. And it's really quite simple. You know, it's really quite simple. You see all the glass towers going all around Chelsea. They want property. You can connect this with Palestine. I mean, they're wiping out a whole race to take over property. You know, it's really pretty simple. I don't know how else to explain that because they make money off of demolition, destruction, and building, and they don't care if people are in it. They don't care what they do with it. Len, I'll go ahead.
Yeah, I
Over
was
you.
just gonna just mention to Christina, we did meet at Manhattan
Yes,
Plaza
we
and we had
did.
a long conversation. I remember that.
I think I
told
was with you,
John, I
right?
said, I remember Christina from Manhattan
Yeah.
Plaza. Last night we talked.
Wasn't I with
But
you?
yeah, you were there, John.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Christina, here's what I just wanted to mention. I think it's very refreshing to have you run against Tony Simone. I think it's terrific. I would just say one thing. We have another candidate on this also, Karen Ortiz, who's running for Congress.
That's
And
right.
she's running also as an independent. So the two of you should get together. But also, I think one thing that is very important is how to convince the public that you actually have a chance of winning. And one way to do that is to align yourself with other organizations, to get other organizations to understand what you're all about and support you. And I would suggest that you seriously look at other organizations and try to reach out to organizations that have membership base, like the Democratic Socialists of America or some other organizations that are fighting for working class people and the interests of working class people, and that you try to make an alignment with them or an alliance with them to support you in your campaign. That would be my advice.
Well, Leonard, thank you. And I am trying to, like I said, I'm new at this, so to speak, but I did join the new NYC EVSA, I think it's called. It's the e-bike. They've been fighting for 5 years. I couldn't believe it. A woman's in a coma. People are getting knocked down, mowed down, killed. And 5 years to try to fight for someone to do something. To me, I can't wrap my brain around that either. But the DSA, may I say this? We don't have time to discuss everything. I'm still confused because we have people leading the city that say they're for the lower classes, but then we see these people wanting to demolish buildings. So something's not gelling in my mind. Something's not gelling. But I'll get to the bottom of it, and I'll try to, as far as I know, Tony Simone is basically doing a DSA kind of agenda. So I'm a little confused. He forward faces with this public narrative that he's doing that, but then behind the scenes, So I'm still kind of trying, like Sherlock Holmes, to understand exactly what's going on. If we could talk some more, I remember meeting you on this, I'm happy to discuss with everybody, and Karen too, what's going on.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have Karen, we're going to bring Karen in, actually, and she can, if you'll stick around, and maybe there's some synergy there. Karen, where's your face? There you go. There you go.
Here.
Karen, nice to have you.
Yeah, I come to these meetings because I'm a Chelsea resident. I support the Fulton Elliott Chelsea residents who are my neighbors, and I love them. And I'm also running for Congress as an independent. And Christina, I signed your petition. The person who was had the clipboard and everything was lovely, and I had just finished petitioning myself, but I know the struggle is real.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you.
But I think what John wanted me to share today, and a little bit about what I'm facing right now. I'm a federal whistleblower, and I think the through line here is labor, because I was an administrative judge for the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, and about a year ago I was fired because I spoke out against the anti-trans executive orders. Particularly in my agency, we were being instructed by the then acting chair, who was confirmed as chair, to hold back on cases where the complainants were trans and LGBTQ, but particularly they were zeroing in on trans people. And I said, I'm not doing that. I was very loud about it. I wrote to the head of the agency and CC'd everyone else, and basically told her that she shouldn't have a license to practice law, and she should quit. Somebody leaked it, got into the press, took a hold of it, and then it was off and running. But I stood 10 toes down on that, and they eventually fired me. I'm also a DOJ whistleblower. I was calling out a lot of the things that are now being reported in the media, things that were going on that were happening a year ago. So I heard the cases I dealt with were employment discrimination cases And those cases were brought by federal employees who were alleging discrimination based on any number of class factors. So that includes gender, race, religion, disability, age, etc. So that's, I think, the through line where with this conversation with respect to No More 24. And Christina, what you're saying too is there's this forward facing attitude from our elected officials that seem like they want to protect folks when in actuality they're doing great harm by supporting things like this demolition. So that's a little bit about me, but my hearing is this week. So I'm prepping with my attorneys, and my hearing is this week. And if all goes according to the usual schedule, I'll probably have a decision in about a month, and we'll see if the judge in my case forces the agency to reinstate me, which would be very interesting since I'm running for Congress. So, but yeah, that's just a little bit what I do, and I'm offering, if I can be a resource to anyone here in that specific area, I'm happy to, to do that. And you'll also see me. Because I am not backed by a Bloomberg or millionaires like the Democratic candidate in my Michael Asher. My ground game is being on the street, and Christina, it's actually great. I get to have wonderful conversations, and and learn about not just the issues I'm already fighting for or at the forefront of my platform, but a lot of other more nuanced issues that are truly quality of life issues. So it's exciting, and the work is real, but it's very I don't know. I do feel I'm delusional enough to think that I could pull this off. And Christina, you have to have that same attitude. And we definitely need to meet and talk about how we can, strengthen each other's campaigns, because it sounds to me, and this is one of the reasons why I signed your petition, that you are for the people.
Oh.
Thank you.
Wow. I never heard that part of you. We've talked several times. We've run into each other. You've been at these meetings, and that is really touching. That you actually, went, you put yourself on the line. So I appreciate that very much.
That. Yeah, it was my dream job, but at the end of the day, and I think I said this in one of the, I was lucky enough to be interviewed by Nicole Hannah-Jones. I said to her, I can live on cornflakes and community if it means that my soul is intact. And I mean it 1,000%.
Wow.
So, and Len knew me when I was a baby attorney for the Parks Department.
Wow. Luana?
Yeah.
Luana? You're muted, Luana.
I'm coming.
Okay.
I'm coming. I'm on my phone because I don't have access to a computer. But I just want to thank you ladies for being here. It's really refreshing to see some real people. Christina, I want to thank you for having the conversation with me yesterday and talking about the issues that we're facing here in the community and sharing a lot of your story as well. I appreciate the listening ear, and I appreciate you being honest about what's going on in the community, and also being a part of the community. You can see what's going on in the community. So I think a fresh face and a fresh voice and a fresh look at what's going on in this community and around us in the city in general needs to be done. There's an old boys network, a new boys network. I don't know what network. We know that Tony Simone, it has been a real estate guy and has been in the real estate business, and they're all connected somehow. And now we have since Botch's glorified secretary as the new city council person, and just the way that this city is moving. They're not concerned about the issues that we're facing. I think they're just concerned about getting positions and increasing their own salary, as we just heard. So I just want to thank you. I sometimes we don't know the information, a lot of the information and the ins and outs, but also having that fresh look at what's going on in the city is really important, and not being entrenched in this old campaign, old political machine network. So I'm happy to support you in any way that I can, of course.
Thank
Karen, I thank you too. I think I met you one time with Caitlin on the corner. I signed your petition. So I just want to say, you being previously or still fighting to get your job back as an administrative judge is it was really eye-opening. One of the reasons is because we have encountered in the judicial system with the residents of Elliott, Chelsea, and Fulton, we have encountered what I think is a complicit judicial move against the residents due to probably political influence. That's what I'll say. And it seems like the judges have already made up their mind before the residents have even gotten to court. So for you to fighting against the internal administration is really something that I think needs to be done, because I think there's a complicity that's going on, if that's a word, in the judicial system, that people are not getting fair treatment. So um, it explains
Good
why the
comment.
residents are having a hard time fighting. So I just want to thank you two ladies for taking the mantle, and I appreciate you. You don't have to know a lot. You just have to believe the belief that the people are entitled to safety, they're entitled to a home, they're entitled to their human rights, they're entitled to live their lives and not be subjected and used as pawns and commodities. So thank you.
Yeah. Karen, can you comment on that? The pressures, judicial system, what kind of pressures there are facing? How do
Yeah.
those folks get to them?
Unfortunately, it's a real thing, and I risk that in my case too, especially since it's before the Merit Systems Protection Board, which is a federal agency, and you can see now too. So my agency lost half of its judges after some people quit. Actually, after I was fired. So you have attrition, and then there's pressure on the judges, that political pressure, and not just in Fed, but in all arenas. You see this too. I mean, I'm pretty locked into federal, so you see this with immigration. Immigration judges are being told what to do, and if you don't toe the line, you'll get fired. And that's why also they're trying to make it easier to fire federal employees. So there's a loyalty thing, but I think there's also a lot of pressure that maybe even the judges themselves can't articulate, and they're just trying to keep their jobs.
Do you think it's less on the federal when it comes to the federal and the state? Where do you think is it pressured? Is there a lot of pressure all over?
Yeah, I think there is pressure all over. People also, a lot of what I heard from colleagues, from judges and lawyers who behind the scenes supported me, but who wouldn't say so vocally, is because they need to feed their families. And
yeah.
I think that's a big part of it too. I mean, one of the reasons why I was able to do what I did was because I'm single, I don't have children, I'm a cat lady, and I had some resources tucked away that I knew I could weather the storm. I pretty much expected to be fired. Not everyone's in that situation. But yeah, it's disheartening because we take an oath. Every judge takes an oath, and they should keep that oath. Unfortunately, I think there's political pressure. I also think some folks agree with what's happening. Their inner fascist is coming out. But I think the city bar has been pretty good in in making statements and supporting the judiciary and administrative judges, but I haven't seen that nationwide. I think the state bars really need to come out in support of the Constitution and the individual state constitutions. And but yeah, it's and also remember that judges are just regular people.
Mhm.
They're not
Yeah.
special. I'll be the
Good
first
point.
one to say that they're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
special. They have feel
Yeah.
the same pressures and fears as everyone else.
Uh-huh. Before I go to Lynn, I often say that developers own this city, and they own the politicians. They own do they own a lot of the judges?
I can't really answer that. I mean, I'm running as an independent because I think the Democratic Party has a stranglehold over politicians and to some extent over the judiciary.
Yeah,
But you know me,
great.
I'm to the left.
I know you are. Lynn?
Yeah. First, I want to say, Erin, you are really a hero for doing what you're doing, being a whistleblower, standing up for your principles, and taking it to the next level of running for office. Really, you're to be commended, and we really, really appreciate it. And I think you deserve to be elected, to be our member of Congress. We need someone like you in Congress, not someone who's going to essentially follow the line of corporate America, which is, I think, what we have. We have a situation where corporations and their interests dominate every level of government and put pressure on politicians who even want to do the right thing to conform to what they consider to be the corporate agenda. So I think that's where we're at. And I think you're standing up for your principles, and for the principles of democracy are tremendous and laudable, and we really appreciate it. And I think we need to find a way to really support you. So I would ask that both Christina and you if you can, put your contact information in the chat so that we can be in touch with you and we can help develop your campaign. Because I think we need, being a small d Democrat running as an independent is a very important thing. I think people will embrace that, because I think there are a lot of people who see the stranglehold of the conservative Democratic Party. That's really what we have. We have corporate oriented Democrats running the Democratic Party. Hochul is everything that Sijun talked about. Hochul supporting the insurance companies. I mean, she's across the board doing that. Now, the Republicans are worse because they embrace corporate America, but the Democrats have to be cured of this disease. And the only way we're going to do it is to elect people like you and Christina, who are opposed to corporate dominance of our society. Thank you both.
We need a lot of people like you. I mean, overwhelming people
exactly.
like you. It's like,
I didn't mean to imply that the two of you could do it yourselves.
Yeah, and you'll be the center of a pack of wolves.
I want to say thank you, but I also want to acknowledge Alex. I'm speaking on my own behalf because I was asked to just talk about the whistleblower case. So in no way am I trying to turn this into a rah-rah rally. But
no, we're happy. We're happy to rah-rah behind you.
But I put my phone number and my website. Folks are welcome to text me. I'll drop my email too, but I have to drop off the call because my best friend is here and she's supporting me through this whole thing. So
okay, thanks for being with us. Thanks so much. We'll be in touch.
May I say one thing to everybody?
Aye.
Is that okay? I just
Go
want to
right
say
ahead.
I will be at the National Night Out, actually in Chelsea. It's on 17th Street between 9th and 10th. I'm going to say hello to people there 3 o'clock to 5, I think. And then I'm coming up to McCaffrey Park, which is just across the street from Manhattan Plaza. Do you know about National Night Out? They're having a barbecue when the local law enforcement come and say hello to the community. So just anybody who's here, tell your friends. I'll be happy to see you in person. And just wanted to mention that.
Okay, thanks, Christina. Appreciate that. Okay, John Leba, are you with us? Nice to see you here. How are you?
Sir, how are you? I'm all right.
Yeah, you want to, since you're here, you want to tell us about your organization. It's fairly new, right? You've been organizing for a long time, super long time. I met you way back, and I've always appreciated your understanding of things. I think you even educated me on a few things. So, John, you want to say hello and?
Yeah, I don't even know where to start. What did you want me to talk about? Thank you for the opportunity to be here. First of all, I love this meeting. I love this meeting. I love to hear the new candidates, Christina. That's exciting. I do have some ideas for you though.
Yeah, good.
And yeah, I just, with everything you said, I really didn't hear a platform. And I think you need like 2 or 3 topics that people like. When you started talking about the e-bikes, I said, okay, all right, here's something. We all feel the same way, that there needs to be change, but we need to know exactly what that change is, and that's what's going to get people excited. Like if you brought up the stock transfer tax or things like that, like this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this and I'm going to, because even tax the rich is not enough to me. Like if you're going to tax the rich and then privatize public housing, I don't. But if we're going to do like tax, stock transfer tax, and then use that money to build up public housing instead, that resonates with certain people. So I think that's the only thing, you need more of a platform. Like Karen mentioned it. And, and I think you being an outsider, I think is actually an asset to your campaign. Like that, I think people are tired of the insiders and the same old people, so, but I'm excited. I'm excited by your run, and I hope you win. As far as like public land for public good, we're still trying to figure out this whole LIFT initiative that's coming out. We're watching it closely. If like, we're not against. I don't want to speak for the whole organization because we're still, but like I'll speak for me personally. I'm not against any building, of course not. But public land should be held to a higher standard. We can't just take public land and give it away to developers and get 20% affordable housing. Not on public land. Like it goes on enough everywhere else, but public land should be sacred. It's a very scarce resource at this point, and it just scares to think that we're just going to give it away and the returns on it are going to be so minimal that it's just, what's the point? So
may I ask a question, John?
Of course.
Sure.
Recently you said that it's crazy how Mamdani is speeding up the old things, the old rules and methods that haven't worked, and then we're going to double down on those things by making them faster. I'm sure I butchered what you said, but can you go into that? Because it's really, when I heard it out of your mouth, I thought it was really profound that, he's focused on speed, and yet how about, rectifying the flaws so that the flaws aren't sped up? I think I butchered what you said.
What comes to mind quickly is 200,000 African Americans have been displaced out of this city in the last 2 decades. So are we looking to do that faster? Do we want the next 200,000 in 10 years, in 5 years? Is that what and they're just a subgroup of, I'm not African American, and my own family members have been pushed out. Like we know people all over that have been pushed out. Like the city I grew up in made space for everybody. There was rich people, poor people, and you know, and sometimes they live within a block or two away from each other. Like on 96th Street, right? You have those projects on the east side of Third Avenue. You have those projects, and then you have like buildings like Normandy Court and all of that, you know, that are like luxury kind of type buildings. So, and that was the city. Now this city is increasingly just becoming a playground for the rich, it seems. Like, I don't know if we're going to become Dubai. I don't know what the end goal is, because if we're just going to keep doing what we've been doing for the last 30 years and it's gotten us to this point, and we're going to do that faster and just hit the gas on that, where are we headed? So like we've set up, you know, young people. And I apologize to young people all the time. I tell them, listen, our generation just fucked this up for you. I'm so sorry. And let's try to fix this, because the apartment I'm in right now, been here 30 years. I mean, I think most people here know my story. 30 years, LIHTC, product of Reaganomics, low income housing tax credit is expiring. Once it expires, all bets are off. That's it. You're out. You're out. There's no, and most people don't believe that when they first hear it. They're like, no, what do you mean? 30 years, they can't get you out. No, they don't have to get you out. They just have to say, your rent is now $4,000 a month. And that's, in essence, kicking you out. Right? So that was a situation. So it forced me to have to organize and get into this whole world. And in fighting for that, then I just see all the injustices and everything that's going on. So, like, are we going to keep doing what we're doing? That's basically what I meant by that, Alex. Like, are we going to keep doing what we're doing and just do it faster? And I don't understand the YIMBY mentality. Like, let's just keep doing this, and at some point prices will go down. Like, it doesn't even make sense, because the real estate industries have the best, and the banking industry, the financing industry have the best economic forecasters, right? The minute they see they're going to start losing, they'll stop building. They're never going to build themselves into bankruptcy. The filtering doesn't work that they keep talking about, because they just rehabilitate the apartments or renovate them and then rent them as if they were brand new in 100-year-old buildings. So, like, put some stainless steel appliances and some floor, and voila, $5,000 a month. So getting back to my apartment, I rented my apartment for $609 at 23 years old. This apartment right now, I just checked yesterday, as a matter of fact, in this area, 2-bedroom goes for $6,133 now a month. So in 30 years, it went up 1,000%. Salaries haven't gone up 1,000%. So where are we headed? And are we going to do that faster now? Are we going to do that? And that's the issue that I have. And I nobody wants to see Mamdani succeed more than I do, but I don't understand what he's trying to do. Like, with tenant issues and tenant protections, I'll give him, you know, I wanted to give him an A, right, with the whole rent freeze and this and that. But then when we talk about public housing, it goes down. It goes down. And if we rate that separately, that's a D, an F. Like, how is a socialist talking about privatizing? Like, I don't understand this brand of socialism. Like, I started to understand about socialism through like Bernie and AOC and all of that. I never heard them privatize. I heard about Green New Deal and investing in public housing and making it better. I never heard of privatizing. So I don't know what this label, how to label this brand of socialism. Is it neoliberal social, like, what is it? Because it can't just be like, it's just, so I'm just really confused at what's going on and the whole socialist and everything, because privatizing can't be the answer. So I don't know. I went on a tangent.
No, I agree with you. Alex, is that a new hand or is that?
Well, I mean, it's kind of, I want to push back on how LIHTC expirations, quote unquote, automatically shift things and statuses. I push back on that because the landlords have to make their arguments in court. So like the whole automatic thing, I caution against saying that, because, for example, in this building, the extension, well, the LIHTC expires in 2033, October 2033, but we already have an extension in place up until January 2040 called 421A17, and it subsumes a lot of the LIHTC apartments and the supportive housing apartments in here. So around 2039, the landlord has to make the argument that we no longer deserve to have affordable apartments here. So that's why I say, to give people some hope, like, I would caution against saying that automatic things happen at expiration. Thanks.
Yeah,
Well,
good point.
There's,
Go ahead.
I guess there's different scenarios, because in my building, he had no interest in extending. All of that was offered to him. He had no interest in extending. He wants to sell these as a luxury condos. So like, we wish with us. So we were trying to, and the politicians and everything were trying to get him to
Yeah.
extend it, and we could, you know. So I don't know.
I have Len and Michelle. Len.
Yeah. I love John. I think John has done such and there's a lot of Johns here that I love, but I'm talking about John Leyva. I mean, he's put together an amazing site, and I think and he's initiated a terrific citywide struggle, which I think is wonderful. I think one of the things that we have to contend with, and it's very difficult because we have people who are fighting on our side, and they are not always successful, and they're not always able to bring about the kind of victories that we want. So for an example, I appreciate what John said about Mamdani, because I feel the same way. I support him. I want him to win. I want him to be victorious. I also understand that he's disappointing me and all the people who are fighting against this demolition. And, you know, part of the difficulty is we can't let ourselves get into or fall into an idea that because somebody gets into a position that suddenly the whole society changes, and that the power structure changes. I mean, Mamdani kind of got in there because of the tremendous upsurge of young people and immigrants and first generation people around the city for the first time who had a voice. So his success is a positive thing for us. And in order for him to continue to win, he needs to have the same kind of force at his back all the time. Because if he doesn't, they'll destroy him. They'll crush him like a bug. And I think that's what we have to understand. And that's difficult for us to understand because we want him to produce for us. And sometimes he can't. And then we have to, then we have to contend with people who say, oh, he's really disappointing. He's really not on our side. We really need to get, so it's difficult. I mean, we need to build the kind of mass movement that can be at his back and protect him so that he can do what I think he probably would like to do, but can't do because he doesn't have the support among even some of his own administration. He has this woman, Lila Bozorg, who was part of the Adams administration. I mean, he has Julie Menin. He has Tish, who's the police commissioner. I mean, these people are enemies. They're enemies of him, but he's got to deal with them. He's got to, and we have to deal with it. So anyway, I don't mean to go on and on and on.
Oh no, Lynn, that's a beautiful point, and you've been batting 100% today. Every time you open your mouth was wonderfully stated. Really, I'm serious. And we're about out of time. We got Ms. Campbell wants to say something. John, did you want to add comment on Lynn, or should we go to Michelle?
Two things. The website that he mentioned is not public yet because I saw somebody comment, but the idea behind it and the idea that I would like to push is we're all fighting the same people, whether it's for public housing, whether it's for my building, whether it's these new initiatives, and we all have to get together. We have to stop fighting in silos, together collectively. And then there's another thing is Mamdani, whether you like him or not, we got to hold him accountable. Like I see a lot of almost like the MAGA energy on this side, like where you can't say anything bad about him. And it's like, no, there's nobody perfect. First of all, Mamdani, let's be real now. He's never been a poor a day in his life. He hasn't lived the way a lot of New Yorkers have lived. So like he might need to understand certain things that maybe he just doesn't because of where he came from, and that's fine. And that's fine.
Yeah.
But we have to be able to hold them accountable. I see people that if the minute you say something, that they feel bad, they get real overprotective, and that's not healthy. That's not healthy for democracy. That's
right.
not healthy for anybody. So I just hope we can have adult conversations with everybody like this. Okay, he's good on this, but this he need he's not being good on this, and we have to be honest about that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you've just laid out a way to attack his policies and not the man, and I think that's exactly where we should focus. Definitely, great, John. Michelle.
Okay, I just wanted to say that, first of all, Leonard, I agree with everything you said and more than agree with it. I am, by way of explanation about myself, I'm Vice President of Bowery Alliance of Neighbors. And I'm also with EVSA, and I'm also with the Chinatown and Lower East Side Coalition. And what I want to say right now, since we're running really out of time, is that please go down to City Hall today at 12. Be part of the demonstration. We need people there. It's not just something to talk about, as I say with my other groups across the table and this and that and the other thing. You have to be there. You have to present yourself, and you have to speak up to Mamdani and give him direction, because the people he's got giving him direction are not giving it correctly. And for him to not say anything about NYCHA and Elliot Chelsea is just deplorable. And for him to not say anything about the women, the healthcare workers right outside his fence is deplorable. And they've been there, they're on a hunger strike now. It's the second time. Sit-in, hunger strike. We've been on the steps of City Hall. I mean, what the hell do you have to do? Set yourself on fire? I mean, really.
I've envisioned that a couple of times. Michelle, that's great. It's like the two atrocities. You got people working 24 hours, and you got a demolition of a community. It's like it's amazing. Michelle, go ahead. I think you have something else to say too.
No, that's that. Oh, I have a lot to say, but I want to keep. It's 11 o'clock, and I have to be at City Hall, and we all have things to do. And
who's coming down there with her? Who's going to be down there with her today?
There's an announcement. I
see Lynn's hand. I'm going to come down. Okay. Sandy's coming down.
Here's up. Some positive thought.
Yeah. Alex?
Really quickly, when you had asked for announcements, I just remembered that there is a lawsuit by about 5 or 6 landlord LLCs against the Rent Guidelines Board, and an opposition is being mounted against that. It has to be squared away by August 14th. The lead attorney is Tim Collins, who won the Stuytown versus Blackstone 2023 major case. Tim Collins of Collins, Dupkin, Miller. And they're looking for defendant, what's the word, Len? Defendant intercessors.
They want people... Are you talking about an amicus brief, or
that might be part of it, but
interveners.
Yes, they're looking for defendant interveners, and there's a meeting today at 3 p.m. on Zoom. And if you want to inquire, I'll put my email into the chat. Thank you.
Sure. Can Alex and Luana or Lynn, can you stand in for Midtown South, or Marnie even? Can 3 o'clock? I'm not available, but it sounds very interesting. Can you explain an intervener?
I'll go. Yeah, what is that, Len?
I'm not sure. I didn't really quite follow what you were saying, so I'm sorry.
Oh, Tim Collins wants defendant interveners because the RGB is the defendant and the 6 landlord LLCs are the plaintiff. And that meeting will be at 3 p.m. and I'll go, John. But
Okay, good.
just to quickly let you all know, the 6 plaintiffs want Sia Weaver's cell phone. They already told the court in a filing that they intend to subpoena Sia's cell phone, and so it's going to be a very unpleasant time for the MOPD office, mayor's office, to protect tenants. And so, like when she's feeling the heat, why not just add more heat to her? Because like none of us here like her.
This is heat from the right.
It is, but it's not going to be, hitching our wagon to their wagon. No, not at all. It's just like, I love to see Sia Weaver squirm, essentially.
Yeah.
Get the media.
Yeah, I think, I can see a point to that. Maybe we should vet that out on the side. But anyway, so last words. Nilda, Lino, you come and you don't, I haven't heard from you, and Marnie, you haven't said a word. I see Renee here, Linnell. Why don't we, any last words, Linnell? Let's start with you. There'll be more last words if you don't say anything. If you do. Marty? Tom? Renee? Last words? Nilda? Okay, everybody's shy.
Sure. I'm here as Nilda. So first, I want to say thank you for all the work that you all are doing. A special shout out to the Fulton Elliott Chelsea residents who shut down the NYCHA board meeting. Loved it. I saw it on YouTube. Amazing. And shout out to Miss Karen and the other lady, Christina. Thank you for what you all are doing, and thank you for being in integrity. I think that's amazing. There's a lot of people in these positions that like to sell their souls, and they should not have to do that. Be in integrity, be in character. That's amazing, right? Stand for what, fight for what you believe in instead of following up what other people are doing, right? So I just wanted to say that. But shout out to Fulton Elliott Chelsea. Y'all did amazing.
Thank you so much, Diana. Any last words? Oh, John, go ahead.
One last thing. What's happening at Fulton Chelsea Elliott is not going to be isolated to Fulton Chelsea Elliott. And I don't know if this needs to be said to anybody. That's going to be the blueprint for every NYCHA campus in this city if we don't stop that. Like every developer is going to pick their campus and they're going to go at it. They all pretty much have the same conditions. They're going to use the same thing. We can maximize and right now I'm looking at Red Hook houses. I think Nilda, I think you were there one time when I was there with you, and that's going to happen over there. That's going to happen over there. Like, so they're already setting it up. There's smaller buildings there. They're already talking about on top of them. They're not going to do that. They're going to knock them all down. The views there are incredible. So this is going to happen all over the city. It's bigger than just Fulton Chelsea Elliott. Like we're looking at the dismantling of public housing in New York City right now. So. Yeah,
they started in Chicago. They went to Florida. And I just out at Red Hook, a huge amount of housing, and no skyscrapers or anything. It's really a beautiful area. And I said, well, if they haven't started on it, they're going to. And thanks for pointing that out, John. Luana, you have your hand. Go ahead.
Wait a minute. You called on me before, John. It's Diana speaking. Hello?
Hello? I can't.
Hello, I'm trying to find out what's the next step to protect the Elliott Chelsea and the Fulton projects. I'm not hearing you talk what your strategy is going to be from here on in.
Oh, about Elliott Chelsea and Fulton?
Yes.
We've been talking about that in our coalition meetings. We don't have the time to really get to that right now. But we can certainly add that to agenda if that's what you want to hear.
Yeah, that's why I'm here at this meeting.
Organize opposition. Organize more broader, deeper opposition.
We're taking a several-pronged attack, actually, from legal to direct action to building coalitions to political outreach to we have several lawsuits going. Some are buildings. some actions we've been taking for a long time. We've been organizing and organizing. So if that's something you're interested in getting involved in, we welcome that.
Well, I've been involved in it for the last 3 years. And
Yeah.
I'm very concerned at this point. I have a lot of written documents, but I'd like to know what we're going to do next and how are people going to know what they should be doing and who they should be contacting. And I've been doing whatever I can do, but I need to have more clarification. I go
where
over
have you
there.
been?
I used to have my office in the Elliott Chelsea houses. I've been to meeting after meeting after meeting, but I see, including giving testimony downtown last Wednesday night, but I don't see what the next steps are. Where do what are they? I thought you.
What meetings
present
have you
them.
been? Yeah, well, some of our guest speakers weren't here today. What meetings have you been involved in?
I've been in hearings here for the group that they were held at PS 33. They were held all around the area. I've been involved with the Kayla's campaign, which has focused on keeping keeping Section 8 out and keeping Section 9 in, and to prevent all of the things that you've been earlier
Have you
talking about.
Have you been connected to the Chelsea Public Housing Coalition or Renee?
Yes, I'm on her list. I'm on her mailing list. That's where I got all these copies of things that were put out. I've gone to them meetings in person whenever they were held. I've been to them online, but I don't get any picture of what are the next steps specifically.
Have you? You haven't been in the Chelsea Public Housing Coalition's meeting?
Yes, I have.
You have?
Yes.
No, not ours.
Which one?
No.
I've been over on 14th Street. I've been to the big program with the whole city of New York.
Okay. Diana, I'm going to close the meeting. Why don't you hang with us and with me, Len and Luana, and Renee, if she'll stay on. Why don't you hang with us? I'm going to close out this meeting and we'll have a side chat.
Thank you. Thank you, because
okay.
I'm also trying to reach out to my contacts as a social worker. I've reached out to my church and other churches, considerable number of them, and I want to know what our next steps are. They need to be included in
We
this.
want to bring some more folks in. Yeah, definitely. We want to bring the church folks in. Definitely, that's very important. I'm glad you have those contacts. So I think you would be very valuable.
Community Church has already sent out emails to everybody asking them to sign the petition that I signed and that many people signed.
Okay, Diana, let me just stop the recording. Let everybody